Well, first up this evening, those investigations into the actor Ranya Rao gold smuggling case has now taken multiple dimensions. A day after allegations of political links to the jailed actor and stepdaughter of a DGP rank police officer in Karnataka, the Karnataka government today ordered two separate probes. One by the Crime Investigation Department to probe if police officers facilitated the actor's movement in the airport and outside, and another by a senior IAS officer to probe if there was any breach in protocol in allowing the actor to enter and exit from India. The second probe has to be completed in 7 days. There are now totally 4 separate ongoing investigations into this case. The CBI is probing if there is a wider network operating in airports dealing with gold smuggling, and the DRI is the primary agency probing Ranya Rao and the case itself. Meanwhile, the trial court today heard the DRI's objections to the bail plea filed by the actor, and the actor's bail hearing will begin from tomorrow. Remember, another accused who belongs to a high-profile business family in Bengaluru has also been arrested in this case.
Kannada Rao actor's case is a very serious matter, and it has to be thoroughly investigated, and CBI already taken by the CBI. CBI has to investigate thoroughly, seriously. It is a very serious matter because so many news are appearing that some ministers' involvement is there, some political leaders' involvement there. So it has to be seriously investigated.
It is being investigated by DRI, okay, which we have no control. It's not the state government's control. It is being investigated by the CBI, which is not in state government's control, it is in central government's control. They have all the independence to investigate. If there is anything which anybody is involved, let them come out. But we are very clear, nobody from the state government is involved in any kind of, that's a small criminal activity. Do you think any minister would be involved in that? Why do a minister get involved in small criminal activity? Okay, of some smuggler smuggling some amount of gold from some foreign country. This is too derogatory. I don't think so BJP should stoop to this level.
Well, is this investigation and the case getting murkier? Are there multiple dimensions that need to be probed? Joining me this evening, BJP spokesperson G.S. Prashant. We'll have the Congress's Deepak Timmaiya join us in a bit. Also with us, former Director General of Police of Jharkhand, Ms. Nirmal Kaur. Thanks to all three of you for joining us here on the Southern View. My first question to you, G.S. Prashant, while it's easy to make political allegations, is it still premature, given that there are multiple aspects of this investigation that is underway by 4 separate agencies?
No, let the investigations go on. We are not against any investigations going on. In fact, the role of the accused father also can be probed, because if the protocol violations have happened, that protocol violations would have been happening under the direction of the police or whoever. So we are not for a moment stalling the probe. Let CBI conduct its probe. The DRI investigation is on. If Karnataka government wants a CID probe, let it happen. We are not against probe. All that we want is justice must prevail and the culprits must be brought to book. But if you look at the statement of the Congress minister saying no minister would be involved in such a small scam, yes, that probably that statement by him is correct in as to why he says that, because Congress has always indulged itself in bigger scams, larger scams, keeping interest to the nation not in mind. They have always done bigger scams. Probably for them, 12 crore worth gold found is nothing much. But keeping in mind the taxation loss, the revenue loss to the government, and that the offence of smuggling is involved, the minister should have been a little upright in talking about those issues. As BJP, we are for investigation, for a fair and thorough probe. I'm sure CBI would investigate properly, and we are not interfering in any of the probe by the CBI or the DRI, because as central government, these agencies have been given complete independence and they work independent of the central government. Therefore, the investigation will happen in a free and fair manner. And if any person of whatever ranking involved, of any party is involved, may it be TMC, BJP, JDS, Congress, BJD, any party, BJP is not there to support
Okay, you
anybody.
made your point. Deepak Timmaiya, is there a worry that this case could get murky because there are allegations of political links? Obviously, no evidence of any such links as yet. But the fact that a very senior IPS officer, a DGP rank officer, is the stepfather of the accused. The fact that a person from an extremely influential business family, we are told, has been arrested as the co-accused in this case. Is there a fear or worry that this could reach higher? It could go beyond just the actor and could embarrass the party?
I think somebody should worry about these things if you are complicit, if you have a reason to worry, right? I think if somebody can just assume about complicity or abetting this kind of a crime, I think then there is a reason to allege these things. But when the Congress party or the government has nothing to do with it, in a state with almost about 6.5 to 7 crore people, you have so many kinds of people. You have people who commit crimes, people who have, saintly activities, and people who live a very, very proper, law-abiding life. So to assume that, that a government of any kind, even whether it's the BJP or the Congress or whatever, would be able to monitor every person's mind. It's like the Minority Report movie, like, you can foresee these things happening and if you can stop them and all that. But let me tell you, it is such a sad thing that the BJP should be feeling bad about the whole thing, because this has happened in transit between Dubai and Bangalore. This has not happened like, the smuggling between, two places in Bangalore, because this lady was allowed to bring these things from Dubai to Bangalore. And which agency was in control of those things? And today to say that, the central government has done everything, but the Karnataka government, as if the Karnataka government has any say about it. The moment you pass the security, you don't have a say. Like even if you are a VIP, I think that, the moment you cross the security, even the policemen just stay away. And let me tell you, this is actually not the time to blame one another. I'm sure that Mr. Prashant also agrees.
Right.
This is the time to really probe and see that it is the honor of the nation that is in question when people can't even bring a pen out of Dubai. I've traveled in so many countries, and once I actually came from Europe, and there was this ashtray, and the customs officer was just looking at the ashtray in so many different directions to be able to see that whether there was something hidden in it. And this lady was able to carry so much that I think there is something bigger than any government could have ever done. So I think
it's an important point that you're raising, Deepak Timaya. You're making a very important point, Deepak Timaya. As Prashant says, the BJP also wants a thorough probe into the matter. Multiple agencies are probing the matter. Ms. Nirmal Kaur, when you look at it from an investigation and a police point of view, it exposes some serious lapses in the system in terms of celebrities and big faces and people with connections when they're going through our process of security, process of customs, so many other checks and balances that are put in place to ensure that smuggling is avoided, on the one hand. On the other hand, in terms of the investigations itself, is it possible for two people to just carry this out? Do you believe that there is more than what meets the eye at the moment as far as this case is concerned?
Definitely, so far as the protocol and courtesies are concerned, they are to be provided only after the person has cleared customs. That's very clear with CISF and with anyone. Courtesy with the local police also. After clearing customs only, this courtesy or protocol is provided. If there is any breach of that, which generally people do for VIPs, they are allowed to walk without any check. So, that needs to be investigated. How far, how many times it has happened, I'm sure they have the passport and they can see and they have the statement also. The second question you bring out is much more important, which is there a wider ramification? Are there wider links, which is quite likely because there are Hawala gangs operating, there are money laundering people operating, there are drug lords operating. And money, money is put across borders like this in gold, in precious metals, something like that. So that is a problem. That's an issue which needs thorough investigation because it could well be tied to the internal security of the country, which is a big threat. And, only customs has allowed her, or she was being a DGP's daughter with some links to the DGP, being a film star herself, gives her a lot of status, because film stars are also revered. Their fans revere them. So maybe she used that clout or that kind of soft path to smuggle gold. It is possible. That needs to be investigated. And much more than that, the wider link, where does it tie up? I mean, just this lady and that businessman's son. No, no. It has to be much more. I mean, after all, when you get a thing, you have to dispose it off. Somebody has to finance your, this kind of money. Somebody has to be financing. There'll be financier, there'll be receivers, there'll be people, who will, like mules, you call them, somebody who's doing this and that, getting it in Dubai. So it's going to be a very, very large network if thoroughly investigated. I'm sure it will come before the country. Right. It's a large network that is doing it. And perhaps what we catch is only tip of the iceberg. Much more is there. I think almost every airport has it, but much more in the southern airports, I would say. Earlier we had this case in Kerala, now here.
Okay. Okay, only the tip of the iceberg you suspect from an investigation point of view. Very briefly, Prashant and Timaya, is there political resolve to see this in beyond political differences and see this as a larger issue that needs to be addressed? Does this expose a larger systemic weakness? How do the two of you respond to that?
Definitely, as BJP, we are not opposing this investigation. We want the investigation to happen at all levels, because one important point that Madam DGP made is that if this fund flow and if there are people in the organized sector doing this, where is this going towards? Is this being used for terror financing against the country? So there's a lot at stake for the country, and I'm sure Congress would join hands with the center to ensure that the nation's integrity and sovereignty is not at stake. Therefore, and this internal security has to be beefed up. If there are any lapses which have happened on due to the lapse of the officials, they have to be brought to book. And as BJP, we are not wanting to shield anybody just because they're officers of central government. They have to be brought to book like any other person. And I'm sure Congress will also endorse this view that investigation has to be carried out thoroughly at a broader level to ensure that justice is met and we don't suffer this in the future, because it is nation's security is at stake.
Right. Deepak, that political resolve that's needed to bridge over differences and ensure that this is seen as a larger issue, because this was not one-off case.
I don't think this is even a matter to be debated, because I think that everybody totally agrees with the fact that we all need to come together to ensure that these things don't happen. This is the question of the country's functioning, its integrity, the way our law enforcement agencies are functioning, and whether there is terror funding, whether there is such amount of illegal activity happening. And even if it's a minister or anyone, I'm sure that because we are all patriots and we all love our country and we all want our country's safety and security, that we will go to any extent to ensure that the culprits are caught and these things are stopped. And I'm sure the BJP also understands it, and this is not politicized at all, because a criminal is a criminal, and criminals could be in any party, but criminals actually will not be accepted in any party. Mistakes can happen if at all somebody has been brought in because without knowing their background or whatever it is. But let me tell you, Congress will never tolerate a thing like this, and thank you so much.
All right. Okay, on that note, we'll end this conversation. Thanks to all three of you for joining me.